Hello YouTube and welcome back to some more 1v1 Dominions 5. We are playing Agartha, middle-aged versus middle-aged Ulm. It would be weird if it was middle-aged versus early-aged, wouldn't it? We are on turn 35 and there is a battle in the Range of Shadow that we are gonna watch right off the bat, because this is the one everyone wants to see, I think. Ulm decides to attack me. And this is his army. He has recruited some Lion Tribe warriors to work as chaff. He has his ranged corps that is mildly tildy. We have not a lot of Black Knights, and those two crushers that are... Oh, one of them has been healed, and I guess the other one is being repaired, or it has... Oh, it has never healing wound, so that's why it's not up to speed. But they have both been healed. On our side, this is the great final stand of Agartha. If we lose, I have a lisp today. If we lose here, it's over. And we have the Pillar of Righteous Flame, the golden pillar, at the front, leading his armies by standing still and showing a good example of being an unmovable. We have a good example of an unmovable force. There's an unstoppable force move an unmovable object meets an unmovable object. I don't know that the expression, but our army is really thin. We have almost no shard guard. We have defenders of the halls, but look at them; they are all spread out because we don't have enough of them to really matter. And we have a good amount of PD in the middle at least, so that's gonna help. We have our oracles of the ancients up front now because I think we even have two super combatant types now, because I wanted, and one of them has the Frostbrand here. That is our prophet. Yeah, so they are gonna have to carry the weight of the army and the battle, and we have the Pillar of Righteous Flame that will sort of anchor the fight and protect the back line against any thing moving up the center. Looking at it, I think, well, I'll let you decide. Do we have a chance here? I think we have with our super combatant thing. That's a new thing, right? We haven't seen that in action yet. We have seen Ulm's stuff in action. They open with a volley from here. Everything of ours is blessed from the get-go because we are in friendly dominion, and we have our pretender here. So we don't have to cast the divine blessing at all. But we don't have a lot of blessed units. We still have only the 20 Ulm, unfortunately. More like, if we could double the number of Ulm in here, we have them on the board. We have a lot of them close by. I think maybe we have moved some new stack in of like extra 10. I don't know how many we have exactly. But look at that. They are opening the battle by stunning important units. Do we get a mage? Yes, look at that. 2 mages have been stunned. So that's helpful. Now he still gets to Legions of Steel his entire army. And Strength of Giants, I think. Then comes the Iron Blizzard spam. I won't talk too much, we'll just sort of let it unfold. We have a single Windmaster. He's not scripted or anything. This is the first one we got. He just got produced this turn, but he's doing some lightning bolts, I think. So that's kind of cool. And I think our pretender is through his script now. So he has a Fire Shield and Astral Shield up and running. He spent all of his gems already. Cast Body Ethereal on himself. He's up to 32 protection here. We now have Rockeye the Prophet moving up to start super combatant do super combatant stuff. He's at protection 33, so higher than the pillar itself. but less hit points, but still good. And he has his frostband that does 40 damage when it hits, and hits everything in a square with the ice thing, the cold thing. Now, if he had Ring of Regeneration right now, that would be absolutely amazing. Alright, so at this stage in the fight, we have beaten the Black Knights. We've been casting Curse of Stones. I think Destruction is also being spammed out. We have broken the Lion Tribe Warriors. In the back here, all the mages are doing their tilty Iron Blizzard spam. Like, of course, they run out of fatigue at some point. They all have Reinvigoration 4, Noblesse, but the Reinvigoration 4 will make them shoot more often. So they're doing their Blizzard every once in a while now, but not as often. Our shot guards are broken. The Great Orm are now out of ammunition, so they have to start moving forward. They have the Air Shield as well, only Air Shield 40, but still good. We have Shatter being cast. Shatter is a spell that you can use against animate constructs, and so Pillar of Righteous Flame does that against this Crusher and does 58 in one hit with that. So that's pretty good. That's a way to overcome them. And he does that on his own, so that's really good. And yeah, he kills them, no problem. Rockeye the Prophet is up front and fighting, and he hasn't taken any damage yet. The Great Orm are now entering combat. We have a little bit of Skelly spam going on in the center. We have a bunch of people fleeing. Some mages are starting to flee. On their side, we have some mages fleeing, yeah. But a lot of them are holding. What is their morale? 15 is pretty good. Oof. Morale 30, that's the Prophet. Oh, okay, so he has the Helmet of Heroes. That's really good. And a Horn of Valor. That's well done, yeah. Golden Hoblon is good. Alright, so that's pretty good. Oh, okay, no, a lot of these guys are actually broken. Like this guy here with all the gear. Nice. But the Great Orm are not good in melee. We don't have... No, we do have Iron Warriors up, so we have buffed them to Protection 20. And they steal life when they hit, so that's pretty good. But they didn't compete. They couldn't compete with the Orm troops. We're summoning Fire Elementals with the gems that we have. And like I mentioned last episode and last turn, I think last episode, is that I should have just dumped more gems into him that was sitting in our store anyway, because if there was a battle, he could have definitely used them to his advantage to improve our odds of winning a potential fight. Rockeye the Prophet has not yet been hurt and is running around killing fools. We have Skelly spam moving up everywhere. I'd say it's looking pretty good. Shatter being cast, I'm not sure on what. Maybe the Earth Elementals? Okay, now doing Blade Wind. Oh, we broke them. So we win. Okay. That's cool. This is interesting and a little bit disappointing. It's not the first time in this series that we are getting an inaccurate replay. So I'll try to relay to you what actually happened here, because this is not what happened at all. And I did think it looked a little bit different. Alright, so for the most part, up until this point, it has been more or less the same. These guys, they don't break, ever. So we have a bunch of or a formation of crossbowmen standing here with some like 10 mages that refuse to break, and the prophet. I even think the prophet actually broke. And they keep spamming their range stuff, and eventually that makes my Oracles of the Ancient break. Even I think actually Rockeye dies, but we can tell that after the battle whether or not I think he does get worn down by the incessant ranged fire coming in. He just can't stop it. So the inaccurate replays are a little bit unfortunate. I think it is because we are post-patch and it was a pre-patch game. So that's unfortunate. What happens is then that the Pillar of Righteous Flame cannot break, of course. So it'll keep fighting forever. And it starts throwing mind burns and just throwing these blade winds at the rest. And he does kill them slowly. Like every third turn he chooses mind burn and kills one guy. Sometimes the blade winds can damage a guy, but they have protection 30 because of all the Iron Warriors and the Legions of Steel. So the blade winds rarely do anything, but he does eventually manage. He sort of thins out the forces very slowly. But what happens when the rest of the army breaks, they just start shooting. For some reason, one important point that I was really looking forward to making is that the crossbows, they never ran out of ammunition. I don't know why, but they never ran out of ammunition in the battle that I originally watched. So they keep firing the entire match, and the priest smith that stay, they just spam Iron Blizzard all day, and eventually, like, they do 1 damage at a time or something like that against the Pillar of Righteous Flame. And I'm not kidding, it's like 80 rounds or something. He just stands there and takes chipping damage and eventually gets worn down, and the Pillar of Righteous Flame will die. This is what I thought would happen when I initially saw the fight. And I'm sad that we don't get the actual replay. If I click here on the range of Shadow, our military force has been beaten by a stronger force from Ulm. So I don't know how much we can actually tell from this here. He doesn't lose any mages, but of course some of them did run away. He didn't lose his prophet. Oracles of the Ancients for us, we had 5, and none of them die. They run away, and our mages for the most part run away, but the Golden Pillar cannot run away and eventually dies. And all of our troops are eradicated or run away, and our PD gets slaughtered. So retreat details. Let's see. Rockeye, the Oracle of the Ancients, retreated successfully. So we actually managed to get away with most of our stuff. I'll cover the rest of the battles here. So we are attacking in quite a few places. And I think we were beaten here in a raid. Then in Blackdale, I'm just poking with the scout as usual. In Blex, our forces are beaten. In Armand forces, I poke with a Lion Tribe Witch Doctor. I'm not sure why, but I do that, and he dies. In the battle in Woods of Weeping here, we conquer something with a small raid. That's nice. Undefended Power Siburia has been conquered by the enemy, so I forget to put in a PD. Shameful. There's a battle in Alman. We lose. Oh, we managed to kill a guy, finally. In the Blue Moss Forest, he raids and kills everything in here. And then in the range of Shadow. A worldwide event has occurred, and then it's an upcoming arena battle. And so we cast Twiceborn with a lot of our guys, but they don't get to respawn because he took the province that they were casting Twiceborn in, so no surprise there. And most of our guys end up in here, but you can see that the battle, this turn is not really scripted, because at this point, the guard dying was the tipping point. At this point, I could keep the game going to show you guys how Ulm destroys me, and I'm sad that I didn't. But I guess we had like 4 turns that day already, and I was really exhausted and a little bit tilted by losing this battle to those Iron Blizzards killing my god. I really thought I would win this one here. So I concede in this turn. Yeah, that happened. we could have gone on, and I should have maybe done it to just get a little bit more closure, but I don't think anyone will dispute my decision here. We can try to fight him or something, like doing a move in here, but he just has too much stuff, and I need to start calling God to get... If the God had survived and won this battle, I would have kept playing. Even if everything routed, then we could... Like, this army could move up to Arman Forest right now, and if we had the God in here to just hold the province, maybe teleport on top of Blackdale, something, we might have had something going. But now it's looking really, really bad, and we don't actually stop the game. So at this entire playthrough, I have not shown you guys the statistics. And that is because I am a noob, and this is the first time that I have ever hosted a Dominions 5 game. And so when I set it up, to be fair, we were re-hosting like 3 times because I messed it up, and then the map didn't work because I had done some things with the save file, and there was a lot of finicky stuff. So the final time where we've got it working, I hadn't clicked the score graph to not show. So and I always check the score graphs when I play and just check my own and follow the progression. But when I did that in like turn 5 or something, playing with NT, I noticed that the score graphs were on for both of us. So I immediately, when I opened it and saw that there was 2 lines, I closed it, and I didn't tell Mr. NT about it because I didn't want to tempt him into looking at it either. And I swear I didn't check the score graphs the entire game out of that short moment where I saw that there were 2 lines. And I didn't want to show you guys either, because I don't know. We weren't supposed to check the score graphs, of course. But we could do it now. The game is over. And they are available. They are here. So let's go through them. The provinces of the score graphs. Score graph provinces. We can see that in the beginning, he is leading with expansions from an earlier on, but actually pretty quickly I catch up and we sort of follow each other, and at some point I actually overtake him, which is really interesting. And we have this is, I guess, this must be where we start fighting, and I do some raiding and take some provinces from him, but he takes some back. Then we fight a little, and I guess I take some provinces underwater, is my assumption here. But then he starts raiding me really hard, and this is the breaking point where he starts sailing around and winning the big battles and such. But we can see where the big battles are here, I guess. There are 2 big stack wipes, and I think you can find the episodes for that easily, or will have seen them and will probably recall them. So this is where I'm losing some stacks that were... Like, I was way ahead in army size. Not necessarily army strength, but army size. I was actually pretty much ahead for the whole game. We were going even for the most part. Now, you gotta remember that most of Ulm's troops are on sort of the same high tier of strength, while I have a few really good troops, and then I have a bunch of chaff, and that accounts for the same number in this graph as far as I'm aware. So the fact that we are even here means that I have a few really good troops and then a lot of really bad troops, and then he has all of his troops are really, really good. So it's not really representative of army strength, but army size. And I had a lot of troops. My underwater merman troops counts into this, and they were just crap. So we had 2 really bad turns. I think this must be 2 turns worth of just losing troops. There's probably only 1 turn where I don't remember what battle it is exactly, but I remember he wiped one of my armies really early on to something, and then I guess this is the one where I move my deceased Oracle of the Ancients out, and he finds it, and then I lose more battles, and then I try to build up a little bit. I guess this must be the battle for Blackdale. So this will be the one where I lose my mini stack with 24 of my shot guard, and then the battle for Blackdale. Then I build up a little bit, and then we lose this battle here. And he took some hits, but nowhere near the same amount that I do. In forts, he was ahead for the most part, but I actually end up stabilizing and getting ahead for one short point. So all along we see that my early game is not as good, but I was sort of hitting a point where I would have my late game was going to be better, right? So if I had not met Elm and we didn't start fighting, I would have overtaken him, I think, but that's not what happens. He's, again, in income, he's ahead in the start, but once we meet each other and I start raiding him and such, we actually get ahead, but then he starts winning the battles, and I guess I fight. I put up a bit of a fight in terms of territory. I also have more provinces with him at that moment, so that's why our income is a little higher. But then he starts winning, and then he just spirals away from me. Now, gem income is an entirely different story. But actually interesting that I kind of pick up at the end here and finally find some magic sites. It just took... I know he has the Wake Pretender doing the site searching for him, so he has a really good site searching game. Then he stops doing it, I guess, for a while. Does it a little bit more, or maybe just has a few unlucky turns. But this is insane. Look at the difference here. This is where I find my first magic site. Yay! Jesus. Yeah, that's... I have never seen a gem income score graph like this one before. This is a new low for me. Now, research is also bad. I'm behind the entire game. And I don't know if I'm playing Agartha wrong. If anyone has some tips on how to play Agartha better, this score graph is definitely one that is a big problem because Agartha is very heavily relying on research. Not so much in the early game, but very heavily in the later game. And even in the late game, his curve is as good as mine. Despite him having all of those battle mages, like if I use the same amount of battle mages, my score graph would be worse. So he spends a lot more on battle mages, and yet still is able to spiral his research graph better. Dominion is not super important here, but I do overtake him in the end. Also, maybe I built too many temples in this one here. That's possible. But I was relying on sacreds, and I wanted to get my sacred production up, which you can do with temples, so I spent some money on temples. Oh, I wonder if we can see the turn where I lose that fort. That might be here, the one where I lose a fort, a temple, and a lab in the same turn. It's difficult because I was claiming more land in the same turn, so it could have been around here. Ascension points is not super important. We know that he had a throne for a few turns, and then I had a level 2 throne for a few turns. I think these score graphs are really interesting. I've always been more of an economy player, so I'd like getting ahead in income and such. But we were playing for the late game. He has a better early game. I sort of overtake a little bit, but then he wins the battles, and then that's what determines the game. Nothing too surprising. Now, before we end, I did tell Mr. Schniente that I was conceding in this turn, but as I mentioned, there's an arena battle. And I like arena battles, and me and Schniente are both Mage Wars players, and that's sort of an arena game. We also found some magic sites here, so ooh, look at that. Ooh. Magic sites everywhere now. High ocean, charmed currents, underwater volcano. Look at all the things we're finding. Anyway, so I talk him into I didn't submit any other movement orders except for, I think I made this move here because I wanted to do something with my file mentals. And then I submitted, I think, Rockeye the Prophet for the arena. So we will go into the next turn and see the arena battle. Down here. There was a battle in the arena, and he sends a guy as well. We get a Joran the Black Lord, who has enormous strength, and he gives him a sword of sharpness and braces of protection. He's feeble-minded from the slave color. We both get that, so there's no spell casting. And we have Rockeye the Prophet with all his stuff. And they meet in the center. And it's... Did we take... Oh, right, he almost won. I almost forgot about that. So never healing wound. Took a major hit right there in the first round. 23 points of damage. That's with the lance, of course. And the Sword of Sharpness is attacking as well. And we missed him, but I guess the Frostband is cool because it has an area of effect thing that means that you don't have to hit. So we, despite Rockeye missing, we still deal damage. And freeze him. And then... Oh, it's paused. We get hit again, so down to 2 HP. He actually almost won against my prophet here. Armies of Agartha are mostly routed. Interesting. Yeah, but he does kill him. Alright. But it was close. Like, I was thinking that there's no way he can kill Rockeye the Prophet, but he does 23 points of damage through Protection 22. Now, it was a piercing attack, but still, Jesus. Yeah. Just shows you how good these guys are. And if you look at the cost difference between one Black Lord, Richard, 105 to my 375 for an Oracle of the Ancients. You don't get spellcasting, so you can't really compare him like that, of course. But then my guy is fully geared up to get, like, have all the equipment I can put on him, and he has just a little bit. He still almost murdered him. But anyway, we can watch this battle here. Just because I like my little Elemental army. I think this is a really cool little thing for Agartha as well. We get all these different types of monsters. But that's it for this 1v1 playthrough. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and we will be doing something like this again. Let me know what you thought, and if you have any tips on how I should do it differently. I think, I know I've talked about this on end, but I really think Ulm is a really, really strong nation. I don't think Agartha is a weak nation. I think Ulm is better, at least in the early game. It might be that, like, I haven't seen a game where Ulm goes to turn 80, right? And I think if we went to turn 80, then Agartha would overtake Ulm in terms of power, because we get some really cool summons and spells become more important, and we have better base mages. So, like, I was playing for turn 80 and the game is over in turn 36, right? So clearly I have made some miscalculations here. I think that if I were playing this exact matchup again, and knowing what I know now, instead of doing this immobile imprisoned pretender, I would get an awakened or probably dormant mobile pretender that could, like, it be a super good super combatant designed to fight all troops, so that I could have won some battles and wiped some stacks early on in the war just by sending in my pretender. That would have been a really, really good way to counter his early game advantage. Like, and he only has Richard here, so he doesn't have any super thugs or super combatants in any sense of the words. So I think that could have won me a big advantage, allowing me to then capitalize on Agartha's late game. The problem here is that we lose so early that we never get to the late game. We are barely even in the mid game here. Alright? So it is what it is. It was a learning experience, and I really enjoyed the game. So thank you to Mr. Schniente for playing, and GG, Mister. He definitely deserves the win. And I also definitely underestimated him. I think that's fair to say. I know he's a really, really good Mage Wars player, and I expected that he would do good, but it was his first multiplier in Dominions 5, and I didn't know exactly how good his understanding of the game was. So it's pretty cool to see that he was able to use Ulm in a very, very efficient and well thought out manner. His armies was well supported by mage support in a way that I still haven't really figured out to do. I don't think I would, if I played Ulm, do the same thing, because I would rely on, and I didn't when I tested the game. I just moved out the units without mage support, and they're still really, really good. But he makes them better by using a good mage support core, and I think that is something that I need to learn. And he has definitely helped me open my eyes to this sort of strategy, how much that really means. So yeah, learning experience, and I hope for both of us. I hope he enjoyed it too, and I hope you guys check out his perspective. I hope it will be going up. So if it does, I will leave a link in the description. And then that's sort of it for this episode and this series as a whole. More Dominions content is coming, and yeah, I'll see you then. Thank you guys for watching, and bye bye.